I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good night. Can we have a roll call, please, Michelle?
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Here.
Pam,
Here.
Cheryl, Jeff,
Here.
Laura,
Here.
Nancy.
Here.
Let the record show that Cheryl is attending via Zoom, but with no audio or video. Her participation will be marked with accent.
Okay, thank you. We've got previous minutes. We've got a meeting from November 9th.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 9th, 2020 with any changes or corrections.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, we have the special meeting minutes from December 1st.
Make a motion to approve the December 1st, 2020 special meeting minutes with any changes or corrections.
Support.
We have a motion and support on the minutes for December 1st. Any discussion on those minutes? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, we're going to go to Pam for bills and treasurer's report.
Okay, in your bills, there is an itemized piece for invoices that we need to approve and you can go through the itemized piece if you want to, but our bills are $76,959.68 that we need to pay. And I would like to move that we pay the bills.
We have a motion on the table to pay the bills.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any questions and discussion on the bills? Hearing none, I need a roll call on the bills, please.
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Pam, you're
Okay.
still up.
Yep, treasurer's report is also attached, and we have a balance amongst all of, as of October 31st, we have a balance of $520,371. We are about just over 83% through our fiscal year, and we're in fairly good shape at this point. There'll be some adjustments to the budget coming up, but we're in fairly good shape at this point. And everything is as of October 31st. We don't have anything after October 31st. It takes a little while for us to get the bank statements in and reconciled before we get it. So at your next meeting, you'll get November. Okay.
Any questions for the treasurer? Next, you'll see the building report. And for those that aren't familiar on how to exactly read these, it shows what our total fees are to date and how we collect money for the building, excuse me, the buildings that are going on. We also do inspections for the city of Clio, and we do inspections for the city of Mount Morris, Forest Township, and I miss anybody?
Effort.
Thetford.
Right.
And so all those things that we've got going on, it was kind of a slow month when we're looking at building, but as we approach the wintertime, some of the large construction projects are going to go on, and that's it. Any questions on the building report? I'll go to the senior report. It's in your file. You notice what he says. They've been doing food distribution, medical equipment distribution, limited shopping trips, and they got the new bus delivered. Cindy, was it 2 weeks ago?
About that, yeah.
And I know they were sending in for lettering or some signage on the side. But about the fourth paragraph down on the senior report, you'll notice that it says, on a positive note, we received a blessing from our partnership with MTA in the form of an additional $13,000 check as a fourth quarter bonus. For those of you that aren't aware, the senior center gets reimbursed for mileage, and it's a program that we discovered. And with Pam and Cindy's help, they wrote the project for the MTA, and it's proved to be beneficial. We get reimbursed for gas, and as you can tell, for $13,000 extra for 1 month, ain't so bad.
What, 1 quarter, Joe? It's a quarter.
Let's see, it
We
says
get
fourth
paid by
quarter.
quarters.
It says fourth quarter bonus.
Yep.
That's, the report calls for that. Okay. Any questions on the senior center report? Next, we got the fire authority, and for those of you that are not involved in the fire authority, fire authority has a bunch of runs that they do, and they tell us. And right now, Vienna Township happens to be the leader in fire runs because we have more people and more houses. But as we go through with this, January 1 is a new chief in town, James Bronson, and he'll serve through March 31st when a new chief is appointed or the chief is reappointed. The fire authority does that. Kerry Paulson served a great deal of years as the fire chief, and that's the end of that report. The BDA report gives you a slight introduction on Suzanne Maxwell, who's taken over on the BDA. The BDA is a great facilitator for our community. They capture funds from the commercial district. Suzanne Maxwell doesn't give herself enough credit in this particular little short note. The fact that she ran Bay City's DDA for years, and we were lucky enough to capture her in this particular area. And we're pretty happy about that. She's got a keen eye for going through the BDA, and we're going to be up and running in a great spot starting January 1 with some new projects that I'll be reporting to the board. I'll be reporting back to the board on. Parks and Recreation report.
Well, basically what we're looking at right now is the ice rink. If we, depending on the weather, of course, we will probably be installing it at the high school at the, I'm trying to picture it. This is what I was told. Do you guys know what it's called? Cancer Corner?
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
No.
that parking lot right there, that's what they call it. They want to install it there, and it will drain off into the creek afterwards. So that's what we're looking for, depending on what the weather holds out to be this year.
And Nancy, is that property not in the township?
It is.
Okay, which this would be just for our board members. This will be the first time that we've had the ice rink sponsored by the Park and Recreation, which is a consortium of Thetford, City of Clio, and Vienna Township. This is the first time it's actually been in our township.
Well, it's at the high school, so that's technically.
Yep.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that, I didn't misspeak myself because I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. If all goes well, that's where we plan
Yeah.
on putting it this winter. If, we didn't get to install it last year, so.
We had poopy weather. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all. It doesn't freeze.
Only in Michigan.
Yeah. Supervisors report. Well, the only thing I have in the supervisors report is we've got the orientation coming up. I believe, has anybody taken it yet? I'm not sure. I think it's starting tomorrow or the next day. We got a couple of people scheduled. And if you can, and I know Cheryl, you're listening, if you can, once you've taken it, I'd like feedback, just from the standpoint of if you thought you gained something by it. We think it's educational. It's got to be helpful. And Michelle, you've ordered some books for them, for the new trustees, which are probably being, next week maybe?
I was hoping they already were, but if you're saying that they haven't been, then I would say
Yep.
anytime.
Okay, so as soon as we get them in, Laura, Jeff, and Cheryl, those would be great additions. That's all I have in the supervisor's report. Michelle, is there any additions or changes to the agenda?
There are none.
Correspondence?
There are 4 pieces of correspondence in tonight's packet. The first 2 are Comcast regarding lineup changes and rate changes. And the last 2 are from Mount Morris Township, and they're both notices of public hearing.
Okay. We reserve this time for public comment. Did we receive any comments on public comment?
We did not.
Okay, then we'll go into new business under item 15.1, 2020 employee compensation. It's
I'd like to
necessary. Go ahead.
I'd like
Necessary
to make a motion to approve the 2021 employee compensation as presented.
I'll change that. Thank you.
My fault. Thank you.
Support,
We have support.
yes.
We have support from Pam. Discussion. Any discussion on the employee compensation? Hearing none. I need a roll call vote.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy,
No,
Joe,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, we'll go to board appointments. You got this in plenty of time. I think I've talked to everybody in this meeting about the board appointments and the committees that you'd be sitting on. And I believe we were all in agreement on these. So hopefully there's no questions. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the
I
board appointments. What?
do have a question.
Well,
Yeah,
Wait
question.
till discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion to accept the board appointments as presented.
So moved.
Support.
We have support. Now discussion. Laura?
Okay. On the BDA Citizens Advisory Board, it says there's 9 members, and everything else, when I was reading through there and counting the members, that one there's 7 members, but it says there's supposed to be 9. Are 2 missing?
Actually, they can have up to 9 members.
Okay.
Yep. And to be honest with you, and Nancy, you served on the BDA. Cindy sits on it now.
Yep.
We have no clue what the BDA Citizens Advisory Board does. It's never been called on. We have Suzanne Maxwell, our new BDA Executive Director, checking with the DDA, with their main office, to find out, number one, is it mandatory we even have it? And are the people that are on it even here? So, good question, Laura. Right now, I'll report back to the board once we get a definitive answer.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the board appointments? Hearing none.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I do. I would ask, and I support this, I don't have any problem with who's assigned to wherever, but I would ask that we are given a list of all members on boards as opposed to just ours. Once we're on the boards, there doesn't seem to be a central station of where do we get the members' names and contact information. And if someone can steer me in that direction, I'd love to have it.
But it's on the sheet. The sheet is your,
Well, you and Cindy and I are not the only members of the fire authority.
yes, we are. Oh, you're talking about, okay,
The other
that's one of the few.
municipality.
Okay.
The
I see
committee
what
in
you're talking about, yeah, any other members. Okay. I got you.
So you're
Okay.
asking for those who are appointed to those boards to bring back a membership list once they've attended the first meeting?
Please, yes.
Okay. Okay, that's a fair question and fair request. Okay, I do need a roll call on the board appointments.
Sure. Pam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Here. Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy,
yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, item 15.3, 2020 Vienna Township budget adjustments.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2020 Vienna Township budget adjustments as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and support. And for the new members, from a simple bookkeeping position, our auditors require, and it's required on a federal level, that you have to adjust your budget on money that is either expensed, not expensed, and to make your budget come out to zero when you're done. So that means that if somebody were to come up and find this 5 years from now, there would be an explanation on, you didn't spend the money, where did it go? Because when there is no money spent as it was supposed to, or as it was projected for the year of a pandemic especially, that money goes back into the general operating fund. So from a simple bookkeeping method, for those of you that are in business for yourself, we have to account for all the taxpayers' money that was originally budgeted. And in our accounting system, we give an explanation on why it wasn't spent. This year, it's an easy fix because of the pandemic. Any questions on the Vienna Township budget adjustment for 2020?
I just have one question, because when I was looking over that in the revenues, where the, all the permits are, is the original just a projected what you expect to take in from permits as far as for building and so forth throughout the year?
That's correct. That's normally the 3 to 5 year projection. We look at the average and say, okay, we expect this. Being a down year with some large construction that occurred, we're probably lacking some of the construction that normally would have occurred, because no construction happened until, I believe it was the middle of May. Everything was halted. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I need a roll call on this, please.
Jeff,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, item 15.4, the 2020 Business Development Authority budget adjustment.
I moved we adopt the budget adjustments.
The BDA.
For a motion to approve 2020 Business Development Authority budget adjustments, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Do
sir.
I have support?
Support.
Any discussion? And for those, again, that haven't seen this before, the BDA, although is a separate entity because they collect their own TIFA funds, they still have to be approved by the municipality to which they exist. So the city of Clio's DDA, because they actually have a downtown development, we don't have a downtown, so it's called business development. They have to report to the city, so there's no miscommunication on the funds and how they're utilized. So there's no other questions or discussions. I need a roll call, please.
Jeff,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, the next one, 15.5, the 2021 School Resource Officer Agreement for Clio Area Schools.
Like to make a motion to approve the 2021-2022 School Resource Officer Agreement with Clio Area Schools as presented.
Support.
We have a motion of support on the SRO. That's the short term for School Resource Officer. For those of you, again, that aren't aware of what we do, a few years back, our board agreed with the school system and the school board to put an officer in the high school and to share the cost of that. This year's operating agreement with the sheriff, not this year's, 2021, 2022, included the contract with the SRO in it. The office saved about $135,000 total on the contract. The SRO was the only thing that went up, and the school, I believe tonight or tomorrow night, is approving their portion. They make payments to us to pay for half that resource officer. And it's proved to be very complementary to our school system and our municipality.
And I had a question about this early on. in the year when everything started to close down and the schools with students there, just for newer board members. So what happens with the SRO officer if the schools are closed? And basically what happened is he comes back to patrol, but he also helped do a lot of the food delivery for the students that would normally get their food at school. He helped do a lot of those deliveries to make sure that those students were taken care of. And then he was on the road also. So that was a question I had originally when we were looking at the contract and stuff. So I just wanted to give the new board members a heads up.
That's a good comment. Thank you for adding that. He's proven to be not only an excellent resource for us, but he has blended in with the students and the accolades that we get, not just from the students, but from the school board about our SRO officer. Name is Walker. He's a compliment to the program. So if there's no other comments, I need a roll call on this, please, Michelle.
Laura,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, the next document we have is the resolution 2022-2024 CDBG grant application.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 12-14-20-22, the 2022 to 2024 Community Development Block Grant application.
Or
I have a motion and support. Now we're in discussion.
Okay, I've just got a little information for everybody. I
Joe,
know,
really quick, one question. You're making a motion to adopt. My only concern is if there aren't any figures, I've got it in there at the bottom. So normally you would give proposed figures and then we can readjust, or the motion's got to have something that says,
Some
Or
meat
you
and
can-
potatoes.
yeah, right now you're adopting a resolution without any dollar values or allocations. Normally
You know,
before the meeting, you guys would give me some projections and I would do that, but it's not.
Can you amend your motion, Cindy?
well, I can, but the part of the discussion is what projects are the board's wishes for this money. And until we have a motion to open it up for discussion, I mean, I can amend it at the end of discussion. Is that possible, Shell?
Well, it is, but I have a suggestion. Can we not make a motion, or at least while we're discussing this right now, can we not make a motion for the entire amount of the CDBG grant to be allocated after discussion? I mean, you make the grant. Is anybody following me?
Well,
So
Joe,
we're
we
not
already have a motion on the floor. And
Right.
in order to
We'll
open
just
up that
amend it.
discussion, we've done what we need to do. We're fine where we're at. It's just that whatever we adopt, Michelle is saying you got to put some dollar amounts in it. And we have dollar amounts on the grant application. So we will go back and amend
Right,
this motion before we adopt it.
right.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Just
Yes.
open it so we can discuss it. So
Okay, thank
am
you.
I good? Am I good now?
Yes, sorry.
I can't tell you till you're
No,
done.
no, that's okay. That was a question I actually had, Shelley, before the meeting and forgot to ask you. So anyways, I believe it was last Wednesday, I forwarded to everyone, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I can't, maybe, no. Yeah, maybe a couple weeks ago. I had sent everybody the pre-applications for all the projects that we discussed at our special meeting. On December 8th, I received an email from the county, from the Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission, that basically approved all of our proposed projects. Now, a couple of them, they condensed, a couple of them, they put stipulations on. So we had originally talked about the senior center medical closet and also the senior center operations. They combined those two and basically have it worded as that we shall provide funding for operational expenses at the senior center. Expenses include, but are not limited to, staff wages, senior programming, and medical supplies for senior citizens. The medical closet provides items such as blah, 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 blah. So that combined the senior center operations and the medical closet into one project, okay? And then the food pantry assistance, that project is pending approval based on population served and the ability to income verify the clients, which means we would have to have individuals fill out an income form to prove that they are low to moderate income, unless we somehow provide food at the senior center. Because they don't question when distribution is at the senior center. And the senior center, we know, doesn't have the capability of housing, quantities of food. So I don't know if there's a way that, we could do boxes up or, but that's a stipulation for the food assistance. The same thing with the book distribution. That project is pending approval based on procedures for distributing materials. So those two projects, we could either physically go door to door into our low to moderate income area and distribute books to those households, distribute food to those households, and there would be no questions asked. But past that, we would have to have income verification for anybody that received that help. So right now we are estimated to receive $111,917. Of that, 30% can be used for public service, which is the senior center operations, medical closet, the food pantry, and the book distribution. That comes to a total of $33,575. If we allocate all of that money to public service, then our other projects would come to, we have $78,342 to allocate to these other, the ditching, the replacement of the township ADA doors, the repair or the improvement to the senior center parking lot. So it's going to be the board's decision how they want to spend this money. And that's what we need to decide tonight, because I have to then turn in an application before January 15th.
It's now the point where we can ask questions.
Yep.
Okay, so I was kind of contemplating over everything. I think they're all great ideas. One of my questions on the senior center, there you have 40,000 set aside for that. Is that a one-time fix or is that a maintenance contract for the 3 years?
Well, it's a one-time job that will improve that parking lot. Because we don't want any, it'll extend the life of it. Plus it'll eliminate any of the potential tripping hazards for seniors utilizing the facility. So, you can't really say it's repair. And it's I talked with the county, it can't be written up as repair. It's
General maintenance.
you can't label it as maintenance or repair. It's going to be an improvement. But
Okay.
for us, it is, I mean, it is an improvement, and it's gonna extend the life of that parking lot. So.
And didn't you say, Cindy, that construction such as that would have to be completed in 1 year? It cannot be spread out over 3?
Correct. Yep. Thank you.
In looking at what you sent, Cindy, and I'd given it some thought just to throw out to everyone that I put down no on the food pantry and no on the books for the individuals, because I felt that there was some other outside sources that might be able to contribute to those, in that the parking lot, nobody else is going to pay for that except the senior center of the township. I mean, we can't necessarily get those funds anywhere else. And then the other one was the medical closet that I thought was pretty important, because some of those, again, the funding isn't available through other outside sources. Food pantry, we can get, commodities and things. We've been very fortunate with the concerned pastors of the area. And then the senior center operations, because they can always use a couple bucks. So,
Mhm.
I earmarked those just because I felt that we could actually help with those things. But the parking lot seemed like it was a real good one also. So that's my take on it, just from what I've seen.
I agree on the medical supplies for the senior center. I think I liked the senior center operation part too, because I know myself personally with talking to a lot of elderly people, there's a lot of people that are, I don't know, kind of depressed because they're locked in. We have a relative that's in a senior center, not in Clio, but in another up north. We went and visited him last week, and they're locked in their rooms and have nothing to do. And I thought if some of those funds could maybe be used to help the senior center maybe be able to do some form of, I don't know, not necessarily entertainment, but things to kind of help enlighten their spirit so that they're, I don't know, just kind of help them out with what the pandemic has kind of put upon everybody this year.
Now,
Cindy,
I
I think you need to clarify the senior center operations.
well, like I say, they, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Laura, because the county combined the two. They're calling operational expenses, everything from staff wages, senior programming, medical supplies. It's kind of it's funding for operational expenses. So it's not just, they've combined the medical closet and the operational expenses into one.
Mhm.
So programming, like Laura's talking about, is part of that. Anybody that would need some types of medical supplies, the adult underwear or diapers, which are very,
Mhm.
very expensive, gauze,
Mhm.
pads, bandages. I mean, that type of stuff, it's expensive. And so they do go there and get that. We could certainly ask for, and I'm not sure if the county would want this, but we could certainly ask for an accounting of who received that stuff, what was given out. If and then some of it could be used for utility bills or their salaries, which, like Joe said, we do get a senior center millage. But there's still sometimes expenses overcome what we get from the county. So for the operation, and this center has finally become, I believe, just about the busiest in Genesee County as far as participation in a normal year. This isn't a normal year for anybody. So
No.
something I want to throw out real, for people, there's like 4 projects that we could do with our money. We could do the ditching on Neff Road from Liberty to Wilson Road at 30,000. We could earmark money for replacing the automatic doors, the ADA doors here at the township at a cost of 20,000. And we could do the improvement to the senior center parking lot. That would utilize, those 3 projects would utilize $90,000, okay? Which would then leave us $21,917, which could go towards that senior center operational expenses or the medical closet. And if any of the first 3 projects came in under budget, we could then take that money and put it towards the medical closet, because we haven't reached that 30% that we're allowed to spend on public service. So we'd be, I mean, in my opinion, that's given us a lot of bang for our buck.
Yes.
It does.
And it gives us some wiggle room in case, the ditching comes in less, or the doors come in less, or the parking lot comes in less. I mean, at least we wouldn't lose the money. Because that would give us, like another 12,000 that we could add to that public service project.
That sounds like a great idea.
We can keep it in at that 30%
Yeah,
margin.
we'd have to keep it in the 30. Yep. But at least if one of those first 3 projects came in, like I say, under budget, under what we've estimated, then we could take that money that was left over and put it towards that public service up to the $33,575 that we can spend.
But to clarify something, Cindy, it has to stay within one of the 4 projects. It
Public
can't go
service,
outside that realm.
well, no, but because we talked about all these projects at the public hearing,
Uh-huh.
and they've all been pre-approved, I believe we could put money into the food pantry and the book distribution.
Okay.
But again, that senior center medical closet or the operational expenses, that's taken 2 of those public service projects and combining them into one,
Okay.
where, like I say, we're getting a lot of bang for our buck with that one.
Sure.
And like you say, with the food pantry, there's lots of assistance out there right now. And the book distribution, I know there's the library and school, and
Mhm.
I don't know, it's a good plan, but I don't know how much that would really benefit someone like the other projects might. So but it's just a thought that I wanted to throw out to the board. So
Didn't you
And
say that the books project would be a little bit more administratively, because we would have
correct.
an application process for each, so someone would have to administer that?
Yeah, either that, or I'd have to go door to door in our low to moderate income area and knock on each door and say, here's some free books for you.
Right.
So
So I got a couple questions on Cindy. One is, if you did what you laid out there, does that mean that the senior closet would have to be in the 3rd year or the 4th year of this grant so that you could use all the money? Or can we do, how does this have to be divided up for year 1, year 2, year 3?
okay.
And then the other, let me do the other question while I still got it. The other question is it possible, and I know the book thing isn't going to work now because there's too many hoops to go through, but is it possible to piggyback a project like that through the school where they're sending backpacks home with kids in need? So they've already qualified a certain amount of kids based on the extra food that they get for the weekend or whatever. Is it possible to piggyback something like that on what the school has already qualified?
For the food or the book?
Well, more for the book, but for anything.
Well, and again, the food pantry, and I don't know if the county would require their own income form, because I don't know how the school,
What their criteria is.
yeah, what their criteria is for the backpack program. It might not be the same as, I don't know. Same thing with the books. The distribution might be good, but again, the way I was told is both of those projects, they would need to fill out an income survey, the parents would. So, again, I'm not sure, and I hate to say this, but that might be something we'd want to look at, down the road for, the next round of funding, maybe. Because there's always going to be folks that are in need, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Didn't we have to go through a church on that too? You said something last meeting about the church fund, or?
Well, not necessarily. I wasn't sure, because I know, Bethany has they call it Love Inc. It's a food pantry. My church, I know, takes food there, and they just give it to people that come up and say, hey, I'm hungry or I need food. So there's no income base there. They just,
Okay.
Cloud Community Services, it's the same type of thing. They would still, doesn't matter who we gave that food to, the folks receiving it would still have to fill out an income survey and verify, their income.
Fund,
So,
yep.
yeah.
I had a question on the door replacement. I seen in the bills that we approved that we had, and I thought it said the east door, the handicap door arm assembly replacement. Is that in fact the same door that you're talking about replacing?
Correct. And when I did the pre-application, I made it known to them that door has had a lot of repairs just in the 7-8 years that I've been here. They're original with the building, I believe, and the building is, how old's the building, Joe? 40 years or
Yep.
30
Yep, and
years?
those ADA doors were not working at all. So Laura, that repaired just the ADA. So anybody with a disability could get in. Before, the doors weren't working.
Right. Well, that's what I was wondering. How often do we normally repair that door? Is it something that happens like every couple years, or is it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
really-
sooner?
Just all the, it gets a tremendous amount of use.
Mhm.
And yeah, it happens to be one of the things that's high maintenance.
Then it probably would be very cost effective if we're spending $4,500 on average to repair that door. Even if you did it twice, you've got half your cost already there. And a new door, how long is a warranty on the new door? Would that be, do they give warranties with those?
Well, we're waiting for the actual quote, and they'll tell us at that.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Now,
we,
to answer your first question, Pam, if we were to allocate money towards that senior center medical closet operational, what we could do is we could allocate a third of the amount that's remaining. That, like, if we did those 3 projects and we had that $21,917 left, we could say we want a third of that spent each year. So a third would be spent in 22, a third would be spent in 23, and a third of that would be spent in 24. So we could divide it up equally for 3 years, or we could spend it all in 1 year, which I wouldn't recommend, but that's again up to the pleasure of the board. So
I think the things you recommended, Cindy, are more than adequate myself. I mean, we know that there's funding for a lot of the other things available. And I think you put a lot of good things on the table. What's this board
Well,
think?
And just real quick, I just divided out that 21,917, and that would come out to, we would have $7,305.66 a year to spend on those operations and medical closet staff wages, whatever the senior center would need as far as operational costs. And
It's
that's
like
if
a
we
bonus.
don't, and that's if we don't, and again, if we come in under our estimates on these other 3 projects, we can then take that money and still put it in, years 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'd just like to remind the board that their budget is not predicated on them getting these additional funds. So anything they get is a bonus, and which we gladly take. These are all just nice things to have an opportunity to get, because we already have a budget. And so this is somebody who says, hey, you got some extra money to spend. And we know how valuable the seniors are to us, especially since I am one. So what does everybody think about Cindy's recommendation?
I second it, or whatever.
Well,
I make the
we're in
motion that we
discussion.
accept Cindy's recommendation.
Cindy, you would need to amend your motion to
Yeah.
include those
Yep.
allocations, and Pam would need to approve that amendment.
Yep. All right, so I'd like to amend my motion to include infrastructure improvement, the ditching of Neff Road from Liberty Street south to Wilson, to include the removal of architectural barriers, which is the replacement of ADA doors at the east entrance of the Township Hall at $20,000.
You didn't do a dollar amount on the ditching, I'm sorry.
Okay, $30,000 on that, I apologize.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
okay.
20,000 on the doors, 40,000 on the public facility improvement, which is extending the life of improving the parking lot at the senior center. And then to allocate the remaining funds, which is $21,917 for the senior center medical closet operational costs to be divided equally amongst the 3 grant years.
Good. Pam?
I will amend my second to include those things.
Okay, so can I get a roll call, please?
Nancy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
motion carried.
Good work, board. That's exceptional. And we're into public comment. No public comment. We're into board comments. And I'll go the way it looks like on the screen here. Unfortunately, Cheryl, I can't ask you. Pam, you got any board comments?
oh, your screen looks different than mine.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank Cindy for doing the work into all those projects. I know that's not always easy to pull together, and thank you very much. I think we've made some good recommendations, and welcome the board members, your first official Zoom meeting, and it's good to have you there, and we'll figure out how to get Cheryl in this. And thank you very much. I will wish you all a happy Christmas, happy New Year. Enjoy your holiday, whatever you celebrate.
Thanks. Nancy?
Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay. Cindy?
Nancy.
Yeah, I just want to welcome the board members again officially with this being our first board meeting. And I do want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm sure you're all looking forward to bringing in 2021 and getting rid of 2020 just as much as I am. But I want to see everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you next year.
Jeffrey?
Merry Christmas, everyone, you and your families. I liked everything on this first meeting and all the items that we chose. I think it's going to work out really good.
Good. Laura?
I wanted to also thank Cindy. I think you did a phenomenal job putting it together for all of us for the CDBG funds. And want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys one little bit of good news before we break. Pam may have already seen it. CDBG funds are available under grants for restaurants with less than 25 employees. That became effective today. We passed that information on to the BDA, and she's making contact with all our local restaurants. And it's wonderful news. It's part of the CARE Act. And we're just excited about that because we've been asking for relief, and it looks like we have it. So with that, that's a good way to end the last meeting, we hope, for 2020. Looking forward to a prosperous 2021 where we can actually meet in person. Might happen by February or March. God bless everybody and have a nice holiday. Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Right.
Good night.
Stay safe.